You know, you can't expect the people that benefit from a broken system to fix that system. They work within that system, they created the system, and they benefit from it. And they'll never, ever fix it. Uh, there are plenty of examples of that. The court system, the jail system, the mental health system, the school system, the college system, corporations and work systems. A lot of these are not driven by profits, like the government systems that I mentioned, the military system, but people feed off of those systems, like the military contractors, and they're driven by profits, and they need to replace missiles on a constant basis. To have them sit on the shelf means no profit. Last year's profit doesn't help this year's profit. Trump benefits from a broken system, and he's breaking it as he goes along, but to his benefit, nobody else's. The Republicans are getting what they want from Trump, and that's why they don't stop him. It's like a bulldozer clearing away. They don't care about the trees that it takes down because that's what they want. Uh, I really don't understand why Elon Musk and Doge did what they did. They didn't save any money. It caused a lot of pain, and he almost lost Tesla for that. He almost lost all his companies for that because if he lost Tesla, he would have lost everything else. And that's why he's not doing Doge anymore. He walked away from the whole thing because he was almost going to lose all his money. And but he proved himself as someone that would fire people when he fired all the people at Twitter. So he proved that he could do the job, and Trump hired him to do the job. And Musk put Trump in that spot because Musk is benefiting from Trump being in that spot. Musk was on the plane to China, wasn't he? So he's got a hand in there. You can't be the richest man in the world and not be concerned what the government does. A lot of what the government does affects you when you're the richest man in the world. And he wants his hand on the pulse of the government. And he right now he's got his hand on the pulse of the president. And he paid a lot of money for that hand, and he doesn't want to lose it. But it was an investment. So, and I'm sure he manipulated the computer systems to have Trump win, regardless of what you voted for. So, and you don't hear any talk about him losing or winning unfairly. Meanwhile, supposedly the Democrats did it, but Trump didn't do it. Mr. Honest there didn't do it. The last thing he is honest. Truth Social is the big lying social media. Everything on there is a lie, made up crap, you know. So don't expect uh, anything. And the Democrats are part of the broken system, and they're not going to fix the system either because they rigged the system so it works for them when they're in charge. And yeah, they created Obamacare or Affordable Care Act, but they didn't make it permanent. They were protecting abortion, but they didn't make it permanent. They were They had the $1 trillion roads and bridges and internet bill, and they didn't make it permanent, and the funding went away. So, for all the talk they do, it's all a lot of crap. And because it's a broken system, and who's in charge gets their pockets lined. Right now, the Republicans are getting their pockets lined. It's no different than in state government. Kathy Hochul, his our husband, runs the concessions for UBS and Madison Square Garden and now the new Buffalo Stadium. I mean, he's in he's in bed with the government because his wife is the governor. So, and you can't say there was a low bid on the contract. There was no bid on the contract. So, it's all a scam. You know, Madoff didn't tell anybody what he did until he knew the House of Cards was coming down. But until that House of Cards came down, he was taking people's money right up until the end. He knew it was going to come down, but he didn't know when. And when it did, it did. And people that run Ponzi schemes and scams, they run them to the end. They run them until they can't run them anymore. And if they have to, they pick up and they go to another city and start all over, or another country and start all over. Because if something works, if it works in New York, it'll work in Florida, it'll work everywhere else. So they just keep going. And, um, it's just all about money. And money is so evil. So many people make it so evil. And, it's like the government. The government's not supposed to be evil, but it is now because it's a broken system. Now, the English played a big role in our Constitution, in our government. A lot of our laws are modeled after France and England. And, well, that was the leading countries at the time, and they wanted all the good and none of the bad. Well, it didn't happen. We got the good, we got the bad, and we got the good, and there wasn't much good. They promoted the good, like freedom of speech, but even back then, there was no freedom of speech. You couldn't say a lot of things. It was just hyperbole. It was all crap, just to get people to vote for it, because they had to get all the colonies to vote for the Constitution. So there's a lot of bribery going on, and horse trading, and to get it passed. And you're talking about what would have been now billionaires. Back then, they were billionaires. They were running the country. They had everything, and they were cutting it up any way they wanted. So we started out with a broken system, and we continue to keep it going that way. Uh, the Jekyll Island thing with the Rockefellers and J.P. Morgan and all that was just more of the rich cutting up the pie and keeping the control. But tables will turn. I think they already have. And I think that's why you're seeing a lot of what you're seeing. It's in an attempt to keep those tables from fully turning. They know it's a fight. One side is pushing for it to turn, and the other one is pulling for it to come back the way it was. And it's just a fight for equilibrium. And It continues on. It's just like a chess game. One guy looks like he's winning until he's not. And there are several chess games, not just one. And if they lose one, they come back to fight another day, and they continue on. Um, 1929, they lost. '08, they won. So it all depends on how you look at it. But just remember, they're not going to fix it if they benefit from it. And that's the biggest problem.